We ready, Jill? Very good. We'll go ahead and call this working session of the East Peoria City Council to order. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Decker?
Here.
Commissioner Hill?
Here.
Commissioner Mingus?
Here.
Commissioner Sutherland?
Here.
Mayor Call?
Here.
All present, Your Honor.
Thank you, Jill. Appreciate it. All right, today's working session is in regards to the fiscal year 25-26 city budget planning discussion. Today, our finance director will be covering a summary of revenues, capital expenditures, and then city council budget deliberations. And of course, we'll take any public comments at the end of the meeting. With that being said, please keep in mind no formal business will be conducted during the working session. With that, Jeff, you have the floor.
Thanks, Mayor. So you have two sheets in front of you there. The first one is a summary of revenues, and the second one's a capital plan. And we'll start with the revenues. So the top set of revenues are state revenues that we received from the state. You'll see the sales tax is going up 1.7 million. Part of that is a change in use tax. So they're going to charge that now at the local rate for online sales. And we'll get those dollars remitted through the sales tax and the non-homeowner sales tax. So when we get down to the use tax, you'll see that reduction there. Second line is the sales tax. That's up $500,000. The auto rental tax is pretty flat. The state income tax is projected up $500,000. The local use tax I just mentioned is down $425,000. The cannabis tax is down $5,000. Those numbers haven't been where they have been. I think part of that is due to everybody getting a medical card and not paying the extra taxes on that. So those numbers haven't been as high as we anticipated. Next is excise tax, which is telecommunications tax. That's down $75,000 and has gone down every year over the last 10 years and continues to go down. Business district tax, so that is the Costco Business District, Target, and Farm Creek. That's going to be estimated to be up $300,000 this year. Motor fuel tax, estimated increase of $70,000. Video gaming increase of $25,000. Riverboat gaming tax has been dropping year over year. We estimate a $500,000 decrease on that this year. And then the personal property replacement tax, again, another $500,000 there. And that's allocated from the state budget. So it was down, it went up a couple years ago, and now they come back in and redistributed those funds again. And then finally, hotel motel estimated increase at $250,000. The next section is water sewer. If you remember, by code, we have an increase on the water and sewer year over year, and you'll see that $140,000 on the water and $100,000 on the sewer. Sewer capital is the same; that rate is fixed. We've hit our top dollar on that. In addition to these revenues, our tax levy, if you remember, stayed the same. And then we expect an increase in our TIF tax revenue because the other taxing bodies raised their rates in that, which will be reflected in the TIF property tax when we receive those. Is there any question on revenues?
Just a quick note, his last comments there in relation to the property tax, that's included in the budget that we had before us a couple weeks ago. So that's why it's not in the summary, because those are already set. Okay. Any questions for Jeff on some? No? Okay.
Moving on to the capital, same as in prior years. There's 5 columns: the current year budget, 25-26, and then year 2, 26-27, year 3, 27-28, year 4, 28-29, and year 5, 29 and 30. Starting with general fund, in year 3, there's some money in the budget for parking lot improvements and building improvements, $50,000 each. Moving on to the police department, the first item is the police station. You'll see that's over 2 years, $20 million in year 1, $3 million in year 2 to get that project finished up. Next, we have squad cars. That's estimated at 3 cars per year, and you'll see there's an escalator going out over the 5 years on the price of that squad car and upfitting. The next line item in the police department is Axon, and that's their body camera program. That was a contract. You'll see the last 3 years scheduled out on that contract. And then the next line down is taser and body camera replacement. We're estimating year 4 and 5 starting a contract on a taser upgrade. Going down to the next department would be the fire department. See in year 3, there's an AED replacement. Next line would be their heart monitors. And that's replacing a monitor every year over the next 5 years. Line 3 would be air packs. You'll see that in the current year, year 2 and year 5. There's air pack replacements in there. Current year, we have a fire engine, which is complete, from what the chief says. We already ordered that last year, so that'll be here in May. And then the following line, Central Station, we're looking to replace that out in year 4. That money in year 3 and 2 would be if we purchase property and any engineering associated with it. The following line in fire is an ambulance in year 3 and 4, split the cost over 2 years, which is similar to what we've done in the past. And solid waste, year 4, you'll see that there's a garbage truck. And then the street department, we have a plow truck current year, year 2, and year 4. The Vector, which we had already passed through council, is being split between the water sewer department and street department. So you'll see that $200,000 for the street department. And then finally, the street department is paving and maintenance, 2.6 this year, and estimated an additional $1 million in years 2, 3, 4, and 5, and that's addition to the MFT funds that we spend every year. Camp Street TIF, there's Camp and Riverside improvement, and you'll also note there's another part of that down in the TIF through the RBI funds, which
Just
will be
real
getting
quick
done
on
this year.
that, Jeff, just so everyone's aware, this project's been in the works for a number of years. It's a PUATS, Tri-County Regional Planning Commission, and that will happen actually this year.
What section will that take care of, Mayor?
It's the intersection there by Batteries Plus.
Yeah, so, right, Camp Street crossing and Riverside, and I think Rick, you mind getting up there?
Doesn't go all the way up.
Does it go back to that last
Interchange.
signalized intersection and then?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, this project is the Camp and Riverside Road intersection, goes back to about close to the Lowe's entrance and then carries on Camp Street a little bit in both directions, and also covers a part of a little piece of connecting the bike path in on the other side, but it's primarily the intersection and adding a lane so that there's not so much stacking back towards Lowe's.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. I trying to picture it, wondering how far we were going, because I assume after the work is done on, for the new police station, I don't know if that would create any issues that we might need to take care of after that project or not.
There won't be any closures or anything like that, if that's what you're...
Well, no, maybe I'm not correct. I was thinking there could be some damage done with the construction, but I guess that there probably wouldn't be. And that section is actually in good shape.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, Rick.
Okay, continuing on, trail extension. This is behind Logan's, connecting that trail. It's along the riverfront back to Tractor Drive. Also in the TIF, we have HVAC replacement, $200,000 out in year 5 at Bass Pro Shop. Year 4, some striping in that same area that we continually redo every few years. The next line is maintenance at Bass Pro, $15,000 year over year. That's just miscellaneous maintenance stuff that Robert incurs as it comes along. And then West Washington TIF, striping, slabjacking, sidewalk repairs in current year, year 2, and year 4. Next category is hotel motel. You'll see some concrete fence repairs, pavings, other field maintenance in the current year and year 3. And then go down to the parking lot, $300,000 in current year, year 2, and year 5. That is mostly the main parking lot, and we're going to be extending that eventually into East Side Drive as well and getting that all replaced. This year, Corey's got a plow in there for an F-250 that they currently have, and then in year 3 would be a replacement of an F-250. And then there's $100,000 for the bell tower, which would be here in Levy Park. And then your current year and year two, there's 200,000 total for gateway signage. As part of the new branding and logo would be updating that for the city. And then finally, the trees along the riverfront railing and concrete repair. In the current year through year 5, there's money in there to address those items down along the riverfront as needed. Next section is water and sewer. You'll see there's 3 trucks in there in year 2, 3, and 5 for F-250s for that department. Then there's the other part of the Vector that we talked about before in the street department. And then water main and sewer main has money allocated for the next 5 years to go ahead and either line the sewers or replace water main as needed. And then finally, in the water department, it's the North Main Water Treatment Plant engineering and $700,000 in years 2 and 3 to do upgrades and repairs to that facility. Going to gaming, there's 2 more years of fields at Eastside. That would believe, is it 8, 9 fields this year, and then a multi-sport field next year, and then looking at an Eastside addition in the following 3 years to attach to the main building. And then down to MFT, Camp and Riverside project we just spoke of, and then street maintenance at $1 million a year, which is our annual heat scarifying, sealing, and all that stuff that we do with Pat Meyer. And that's a capital plan, if anybody's got any questions on that.
Just a couple points reference. One of the, the past several years here, we've tackled a lot of long-standing large street projects. And with Pinecrest, it was broken down into 3 phases. And I just want everyone to be aware that we have that 3rd phase as part of our capital. It's not listed on here, but it's part of what we've got in capital to complete this year, which is that stretch from 474 down to Muller Road.
Okay.
To complete that. So, anything else, Jeff, that we might have missed?
No, I think that's all of it.
Okay. Any discussions or thoughts, questions? And, I'd just like to point out, just for public record, how we've done this for the last 5, 6 years now. Sitting down with the department heads, I appreciate all the hard work staff does, the department heads do, and the commissioners, because they all sit down with their individual department heads and, look through the operating budget, which is separate, and then we sit down and look at the capital needs, and then that's kind of where we're at today. We covered the operating stuff 2 weeks ago. Tonight, we're covering the summary of revenues and the capital, and then, of course, we'll put everything together and bring it back before council to vote on. But appreciate the hard work. A lot goes into it, and I know there are a lot of needs across the board, so it's all about prioritizing, and I appreciate, really appreciate all the effort that goes into this.
Mayor, you and I have spoke about, and I've spoken with Commissioner Hill about this and Rick about as well, and this is not the time. I should have tackled this quite a while ago, but when I think Commissioner Hill and I were speaking last week, it reminded me, I don't know if it's the right thing to do or not, but each year we got out of the toter business, and that's made life a lot easier in a lot of cases, but and those toters have a warranty by the manufacturer, usually I think around 10 years or so. But there are times, especially if we have a newer driver or something happens that someone could make a claim that it broke. Most of the time where toters break, they do for age. But in those few instances where we've looked at it like there was something that maybe we did or could have done, the only question or the only reason I bring this up is we've never really had a line in the past to, if we feel like we should replace someone's toter, and I wouldn't request a lot, but is it possible to put a small line in there for those incidents when the director deems it, whether it be user error or something, that we could take care of that without dipping into other parts of the budget? Again, I should have brought this up before. I apologize about that, but I appreciate Commissioner Hill asking me about it.
I guess the question I would have too, and it goes back, I mean, we'd have to look it up historically and see what we did. But when we shifted to that toter program, I thought we kind of put a limit on how far out the city was going to
Yeah, we did.
warranty or take care of them.
The instance, I think, so let's say someone buys a toter, they could have it for a year or two. Used to, if it was within 10 years, we would replace it. The manufacturer helped us out with that. But if someone has let's say a new toter, and if we have a newer driver, just getting used to the controls or whatever, if there's damage done, I think it would be very rare, very rare. But if the director feels that, yeah, we probably should replace that, I just want to be able to have a spot that they can pull from. Because the city certainly wants to, meet its obligations. If we do something wrong, we want to take care of it. I just want to make it easier on Rick and Brett in the future to be
Sure.
able to, in those cases.
What would your recommendation be, dollar-wise?
It would not be
we'll
much.
cer-
I mean, even if
Well,
we started
yeah.
with $1,000 would be at least something that they could have in case.
Because you got to think, and Rick might be the best knowledge point of how often that occurs, because I can tell you I have had that conversation with Commissioner Decker, because I witnessed, it happen. And again, not a malicious or intent, but I watched my neighbors, and mine's been busted. So I know it happens, and too many times I see chatter, and it's not from the city, but I see chatter on our social media where they're being blamed for being too heavy. And well, I can guarantee you mine's broke, and I can guarantee you it wasn't overloaded. It wasn't So I've encouraged him to have a line item to say cover where we might be at blame of this can. But then the policy would be good to be reviewed or be aware of what that is, because if you're going to say it's got to be 3 years old and you got to have the receipt and all that kind of stuff, then it gets pretty burdensome on the citizen.
Well, I got a question if you're going to do it like that. I have 3 totes at my house. One is from Peoria. When my significant other moved to my house, she brought her garbage can with her clothes. And one is from my hardware store, and the other one is from the city. So if it's our fault, are we only doing the city ones, or are we doing the ones bought at Lowe's? Are we doing the ones that are from Peoria that somebody's already paid for? I mean, this could get...
No,
this
you're
could
correct.
get-
Yeah, and this is why in the
If it's
past...
our fault, it's our fault.
Yeah, in the past I haven't resisted it, but it's not easy. And I just want to make it easier on them if it were to occur. And honestly, the mayor's question is good, and I don't know what to say. Or if there's a place in our city budget in general that they could pull from if needed. Maybe not make it an actual policy that we routinely look at, but if needed, they could draw from. I don't know. You bring up good points, and there are a lot of good points to this, a lot of good arguments. But again, should have talked about this ahead of time.
That's all right. I'd be interested in
The
it.
simple math.
Yeah, in my opinion, is that I don't believe, unless we're going to outfit it properly, that we should be in the business of selling the toters and handling it and doing it and covering the warranty and all that. I mean, you can talk to anybody in the industry, and that takes manpower, and I don't believe that we can do that. As far as the number of them that I believe that we are responsible for, I don't think there's a lot of them every year. The guys are pretty good about if they, for some reason, inadvertently throw it in the truck and it gets crushed or something like that, we give that resident a new container. The tough part comes in when these trucks are designed to pick up these containers. I mean, they're solely designed for it, and they're regulated in how they set them down and everything else. So it becomes difficult to start looking at how old a container is, what type of plastic it was built from. As the Commissioner Sutherland mentioned, there's some of them out there that are real thin, that don't handle the arms real real well and stuff like that. So, in generally speaking, if we think we're at fault, we take it out of our general funds. We'll take it out of like 070 other expenses. I don't know that it happens so frequently that we need an area to track it like that. It's tracked in 070. We know if we, in billings, we'll see it, that we replaced that container or purchased another container or paid them to get another container.
Well, that's a good point. I think as long as we have some place that makes it easy for yourself or for Brett to pull from, if the case arises. Again, I've talked with him a lot about it, but I can't even claim that I've heard this yearly. There have been a case where I've heard and I thought, well, that certainly sounds suspicious, but once in a while, so it may not be necessary to make it into its own line, as long as we have the ability to do it, pull out of, as you said, 070, that's fine with me, as long as we identify the ability to do it.
And the warranty, we offered the 10-year warranty because the factory backed that up for years. Mm-hmm. I guess the way I look at it is, you look at a 10-year warranty, what do you own that right now that has that type of warranty? Right. It's kind of really out there. But
what are the warranties on those things now? Mike might know the best answer.
The company that I deal with has a 10-year limited warranty. I'm not bragging or nothing, but I send a sticker with the garbage can, and I have them get a hold of the factory direct. I'm out. I mean, I'm not going to, I don't know if somebody ran over it the week before, backing their car out, or it happened with, you know what I'm saying? So I let the experts do that. I mean, that's how I do it. I think that's how most of the industry does it. We were kind of an exception to the rule by getting involved with the warranty.
Sure.
Yeah, we tried, I remember when the city shifted to that, and it was more of a good gesture to get people to jump over and get on the program, because a lot of people were not happy that the city was going in that direction, so,
I think it boils down to Commissioner Hill hit it right on the head, is a good policy, and having a policy that we stick with and that we follow no matter what we decide to do, whether it's an extended warranty or some type of policy to determine, who's at fault or whatever. But that does need to be in place.
Yeah, because I don't want to be misunderstood.
No, not at all.
I voted for not being in the can business when we originally, so I don't believe we should, but it just seemed like there was, again, I've heard of it a lot. Like I said, I've watched my neighbors be crushed. Mine's currently broke, and I watched today. The truck hit my can. The driver hit my can, one of my cans, so the recycle was out there. I literally watched that. Now, I didn't actually check to see if it was damaged, but to me, there are instances where we should be covering, regardless of, we should be covering somebody's can. And I hear about them quite often, again, on social media, so take it for what it's worth. Don't know the situations or the details, but I think some line item or being able to cover, because again, if you do, I don't know what the cans actually cost. Commissioner Sutherland can tell you.
They're not cheap.
$10. There's about, we sell ours for
$10.
$10.
No profit.
Those are the ones that aren't lasting, I can promise you.
I meant, is it $100 a can?
They're $119, and we pay $109.
If we break 50 a year, you do the math, and to me, that's the kind of line item that you need to expect to cover.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, well, we'll look to draft some type of policy, but it sounds like
just
we've already
good
been.
customer relations.
We've budgeted, accordingly, so we'll draft a policy and run it by all of you. Okay, thanks, Rick.
The only other thing I was going to mention, Mayor, is I'm really impressed with, you look at our schedule, I'm happy that the police department, the police station is moving forward, and we're looking at fire stations, and I know that I'm happy the council recognized that we have to look at all of our buildings, and one of these days we'll need to look at the Public Works building as well. Fortunately, we're in good shape right now, and I like that we're not looking at taking huge loans out to pay for everything. This is nice that we're able to cover it.
Agreed.
That's all I had, Mayor.
Yeah. Any other comments, questions?
Well, just comment on, I think we've already done it, one of the things that, again, this council has been a strong supporter. I penciled in 5.1 million roughly that I see as line items here for street-related improvements. And so I know in councils past, funds were strained. You'd be lucky to get the MTF money, which MFT money, which was maybe $1 million. It was less than that at point. So I'm glad to see that we continued supporting that.
Yes.
Yeah, and just as we have in the past several years too, depending on how the revenues come in, we budget conservatively. By nature, we live within our means. But, as the fiscal year progresses, if there are other items that we can tackle, and you mentioned streets, we've had the good fortune while the contractors are on the job, if there's, comes in under bid or we have an opportunity to do a little bit more, if the revenues are there, we do that, so. Any other comments? No? Any public comments? No? Hearing none, very good. Well, with that, I would seek a motion to adjourn this working session.
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Mingus and Commissioner Decker. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Commissioner Decker?
Aye.
Commissioner Hill?
Aye.
Commissioner Mingus?
Aye.
Commissioner Sutherland?
Aye.
Mayor Call?
Aye.
All present voting aye, Your Honor.
Thank you. We are adjourned until we meet again.